Oh, this is my third or fourth fucking try at this, but holy shit. Press continue on YouTube has given me a cheese strat against Flame Lurker, which is to poison him fucking painfully slowly. So I had to do it a few tries. I have recorded and deleted this footage over and fucking over again, but essentially you have to like bait him out to the entry fog gate, and after baiting him out to the entry fog gate, then you have to run all the way around the right side of the arena if you're in fractured mode, or the left side of the arena if you're not in fractured mode. By doing so, you should be able to get far enough away from him that by the time you get to the other fog gates, the exit to the boss arena, he will have forgotten where you are. And by staying perfectly still at the exit to the boss arena, he will eventually forget where you are and just sit there with his dick in his hand while you sneak up behind him and poison him. Now, the first time that I fought a couple hundred videos ago, sorry again, the first time I fought the Flame Lurker, I told you how dangerous he was and how he's probably the hardest boss in the entire game. But then I proceeded to basically school his ass and tank hits, no problem. So you might have gotten the impression that he's not that dangerous, but he absolutely is. This is just New Game Plus 1, so he's only partially stronger than he is any other way. And this is also close to pure white world tendency, which I'll probably achieve after I beat him, because the world tendencies reset to neutral on New Game Plus. Probably close to pure white character tendency as well, which means that Flame Lurker is as easy as he can possibly be on New Game Plus, with very little wiggle room in that statement. He's basically as easy as he can be right now. However, in full brushwood armor, he was 1 or 2 shotting me. I was doing fucking dog shit damage to him. Remember, Poison Cloud only does 900 damage, so you gotta proc it every couple of minutes. But, yeah, he was 1 or 2 shotting me with the full brushwood set, which I don't think that there's any singular armor that has more defense than the full brushwood set. I could barely get a heal off. Whenever he did, 1 or 2 shot me, he would use up my second chance. And then I would have to go hide behind a pillar and try to run another second chance. Sorry, it's very late here, so I keep yawning. But I would use up another second chance, and he would usually catch up to me before I could even cast a miracle. It was a massive fucking pain. And this is my 5th run at the boss. And I think I did 2 runs where I tried to do it legit. And then I started looking at this cheese strat from Press Continue on YouTube. And then I did at least 3 more runs just trying the cheese strat, and it's harder than hell to make it out of the front fog gate to the back fog gate without him catching up to you. If you create enough space in between you and him with the Thieves Ring on, he will absolutely forget where you are, but it is a very tough thing to do. So obviously you see that this strat is working. So if you can pull it off semi-consistently, then what you're going to get is an easy run with Flame Lurker again and again, you know. Remember, part of this series is all about replacing getting good or replacing a large amount of skill with the idea that you can simply instead replace skill with patience. If you just replace skill with patience, it's actually going to take you less time to be patient than it is to be very skilled. And at the same time, patience bleeds over into other territories as well. You've already seen this a million times before. You know, you've seen a game be released for $60, their pre-orders and stuff like that, and then it comes out, and you know, before you know it, it's a $20 game. You've seen this gross depreciation in value over and over and over again in your own life. So you absolutely know beyond any shadow of a doubt that at the end of the day, patience pays off. And patience is definitely a virtue. So you can see this over and over again. So that's what this series is all about and everything. The types of things that patience can give you are incredible. Patience, for example, can cause you to realize that within a very short amount of time that you can do something. A lot of times people will try to skip the line in some way, shape, or form. So they'll try to they'll say, "Oh, I've got something that I can do, some job that's going to pay enough money for me to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to be able to, you know, fucking take over the world with this one stupid plan." And they'll try that over and over again their entire fucking lives, just trying over and over again to like solve all of the world's problems and skip the line. You know, they're gambling and they're rolling the dice, hoping to win the lottery. But the fact of the matter is that 95% of lottery winners lose all of their money within a year of winning the lottery and wind up in debt. So even if you have the infinitesimally small chance of actually being able to skip the line correctly and, you know, get to the front of the line and accomplish everything that you're setting out to do, it's still not going to be the end game that you think it is. And you have no evidence whatsoever that you're going to be the one that's going to win this lottery. You have no evidence that you have a better chance than every other human being that you know. And by ignoring that fact, you're not only being narcissistic, but you're also just betting on the wrong horse. You are getting into a car, you're not fastening your seatbelt, and you're hoping that not only will you drive very, very well, but you'll also be a defensive driver, and you'll have eyes in the back of your head And so nobody else will drive poorly and run into you, causing you to launch out the window at terminal velocity and become a projectile that can kill other people. And the chances for you to do that are slim to none. You are not going to be able to see all problems coming from every direction, including from above where you cannot see because there's a hood on your car. Even if the hood is off of your car, you don't have eyes in the back of your head. Anything can happen. So the police officer is perfectly within their fucking rights to pull your ass over and give you a ticket for not wearing your fucking seatbelt because you're betting on the wrong horse. But at the end of the day, there are definitive ways to get ahead in life. And all you need is that fair amount of patience. You know, like I said, people will look at the next opportunity and the next and the next and the next and the next their entire fucking lives and keep trying to, keep saying, no, this is the one that's definitely going to work. This is the one that's definitely going to work. This is the one that's definitely going to work. And with no evidence whatsoever that this brand new exciting opportunity is the one that's actually going to work out for them, and it's not going to have one of the millions and millions of ways that it's failed, and it's certainly not going to fail the exact same way that all of the other things that they've tried has failed. But then you've got things that definitely work, and they work every single time, and they've never stopped working. So things like that, of course, include like being an engineer. So in 4 years, you can become an engineer. If it takes a little longer than that, if it takes more than 4 years to become an engineer because you can't devote yourself to all of those studies and stuff like that, then that's fine. It's still a fucking guaranteed way for you to get enough money to pay your bills. You say, I'm not so good at math. Well, the evidence is against you. The evidence states, as I've said before with Malcolm Gladwell's book Outliers, the evidence is that mathematics is a measure of patience. And I've run through that example before in a previous video. Mathematics is a measure of patience. And patience is something that you can develop with something as simple as this game. Now, I've talked before about this, about how just a stupid fucking game, any game, just a stupid fucking thing, a point of media can do so much for us. People will fondly dismiss any given game. They'll say, like, this game cannot be life-changing. You are exaggerating. This game cannot do something for my life. But what makes this game different from any other game? If any game can change your life, why can't this one? What makes this game different from all the other games? And the fact of the matter is, you cannot definitively answer that question. As an art critic or something like that, you can point out little differences and you can theorize on that question, but you have no definitive evidence to answer that question. So if this game is as good as any other game, then what makes this game different than a movie? And you have no way to answer that question. Okay, well, what makes this game different from this movie? That makes it different from this TV show. And if you can't definitively answer that question, then what makes this game different than this movie? That makes it different from this TV show? That makes it different from this book? And if you can't definitively answer that question, then just remember that the Holy Bible is a book. And people have fought and died over it for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And that's just the Holy Bible. All the other different religious texts around the world, they are also all only books. And we have seen time and time again, we have the studies, the scientific data, where a piece of media can do a great amount of harm to you. And of course, we have the data that a piece of media can do a great amount of good for you. just within the Abrahamic religions by themselves. Science has said over and over again that any sort of overarching deity, any sort of belief in a higher power, makes the person that believes that way happier, healthier, and wealthier than everybody else. All things remaining equal, the person that believes in a higher power will be happier, healthier, and wealthier than everybody else. Same situation, same job, making the same amount of money, everything. They'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier than everybody else. They'll have more sex, and better quality sex with more partners. You know, scientific studies have proven over and over and over again that this is the case. So then there's the, you know, for the atheists in the crowd that, you know, just don't want to believe that studies, and despite of all of the evidence, then I can't do anything for you, but the evidence is there for you to look at. For people who say that, you know, that I can't believe, I just can't make myself believe something. Well, yes, you absolutely can. And we've proven that time and time and time again. With a study where there was a psychological study that I think Michael from Vsauce brings up in one of his mind field episodes. Mind as in like the thing, like your brain, the thing that's in your head, mind, M-I-N-D, field. In one of his mind field episodes, I think he brings up the psychological study where we have about 11 actors and 1 volunteer. And the 11 actors there'll be lines on a big piece of paper, and they'll ask everybody which line is the longest, and it'll be like one's 1 inch, one's 3 inches, and 1 inch, and one's like 12 inches. It's very clear which line is the longest, but people will choose the middle. All the actors will choose the middle one, and not only will the volunteer usually agree with the actors, but when asked outside of that setting, once all of the actors is gone, they will continue to believe that it's the middle one. And when quizzed about this subject, they'll say, that's the longest one. They'll insist on it. They'll begin arguing for it and everything whenever it's clearly not the correct answer. So then they do brain scans and everything to try to see whether or not they're lying, and they find out that the subject literally believes that this is now the truth. That this study resulted in brain damage in the subject. So it's not them going along with the crowd or being convinced or anything. This is, their brains would modify the image in front of them to make the second one now the truth. So you can absolutely. If I told you that, during my childhood, I was in the Young Marines, and I had to do a great many things inside the Young Marines. I had to go from town to town, and we had plenty of land navigation exercises that we had to do. We had plenty of there was lots of little infighting between us. Everybody was trying to figure out who was the toughest and all that kind of stuff. Then, you might believe me, especially with my military background. It's a very easy to understand, story. And it all leads up, all the facts line up. The fact of the matter is, I was never in the Young Marines. Never, not once. I spent 24 hours in Boy Scouts, but that's an entirely different story that I'll get to one of these days. But I was never in the Young Marines. So if at any point in time I was telling you that I was in the Young Marines and you thought that I was telling the truth, then you believed that. And now that I'm telling you the absolute truth, that I was never in there, and have only spent 24 hours in Boy Scouts, an entirely separate organization, then now you know the absolute truth. And I think that the Young Marines weren't even established whenever I was a kid, so you can prove this just on a timeline basis. But that's how easy it is to believe in something. So that sort of thing, that changes things around, you know. Futurama did a great thing on it, where there was an episode dedicated to a society, a sort of planetary organization that supported life. And it was something that they showed in the show. And in one part of it, they would, in one part of the show, they would show that this society, this planetary supporting life thing came about because of a random accident, because of the Big Bang or whatever. And in the other part, they would show that a higher power caused that random accident. And the fact of the matter in the show was that it doesn't fucking matter. So whether you believe that a higher power caused the Big Bang, or whether you believe that the Big Bang was just a natural thing that just happened. There was nothing, and then nothing happened for a very long time, and then suddenly something happened all at once, and that's the way that our universe was made. Whether you believe one or the other doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that the practical approach is to believe in a higher power, simply because it will benefit you directly. It will benefit you in your own life directly. And then there's all the studies. If you ever get a chance to take a Science of Happiness class, I highly recommend it. I took it at Lewis and Clark Community College. The teacher that teaches it there, at least did whenever I took it, right around spring semester 2020, thereabouts. It was absolutely wonderful. And one of the things that we discussed is that money doesn't create happiness. It's actually happiness that creates money, which makes sense whenever you think about it for even 1 second. Even 1 second, you think about it and you automatically, intuitively know that that's the truth. Because of course, you want to tip the wait staff that is happy to be there. You don't want them to be miserable. You want to spend more time around the happy shop owner, the happy shopkeeper, or the happy cashier, not the miserable one. You intuitively, wants to buy more things around the happy salesperson. These sorts of things. It intuitively makes sense. And if they're happy, they're going to want to go to work. And if they're going to want to go to work, they're going to want to work hard at work. And if they're going to want to work hard at work, then at the end of the day, they're going to want to, they're more likely to put energy into work, which is more likely to go to a promotion. And they're not going to have to de-stress after work. Whatever method of de-stressing that they use, whether they spend hours on the couch playing video games after work, or whether they drink after work, whether they de-stress in some other way after work. So they're going to be able to keep more of their money as well. So, there's the cheese strat. You can see it works like a charm. It's a real pain in the ass, but whatever. And since I've still got my captured audience here, we'll go ahead and we'll beat up the big dumb dragon. We'll beat up the dragon god, and we'll use yeah, you son of a bitch. I think I had 30 strength before, and then False King Alonso gave me the suck. He fucking soul sucked 1 or 2 levels out of me, and I never managed to get him back. But you can see that these things kind of make intuitive sense if you think about them for even a moment. You start thinking about them for even a moment, then you realize that, okay, this is starting to make perfect sense to me. Whereas earlier, it might not have. Very simply, just because it's not a sensible thing, and nothing in the world has ever made you happy whenever you bought it with money. You can just ignore as many scientific studies as you want saying money doesn't buy you happiness, all the way up until you look back at your own experiences and you realize that it's actually 100% correct, 100% right. It's like, yeah, it's never made me happy. Why would it start? So this time we're gonna beat up. Yeah, you bastards! We're gonna beat up the. Yeah, that's fine. No, it's not. But we'll remedy that in a second. This time we're gonna go ahead and beat up the dragon god with the fists of God, isn't it? Yeah, the hands of God. So we're going to do that. We're going to beat up the dragon god with the hands of God, and that's going to unlock yet another trophy for us. Let's try to get something that's going to... Let's try to get some sort of thing that's going to bust through the barriers in one hit and not several. 210. $126, it's about 300. I think I fucking magic meat stick might be the best damaging thing that I have. Dozerax does 340. You make that with the Vanguard Soul from the tutorial, or World 4-1. Huh. I thought my meat saber would be the best damage output, but maybe not. 90-90, well, 90 plus 181. So 180 plus 180 is 360, and about an extra 49 on top of that. So I think that might be the best damaging thing ever. Might as well get rid of this other shit then. So I can pack the meat saber around. Apparently the Morian blade, the Morian blade will allow you to break rubble in one hit. And I don't know what that means. That's another tip that I got off of Press Continue. He said that the Morian blade would cause you to be able to break the stones with one hit. And I don't know if that is a measure of their attack power or what. I have no idea. Okay, but we are still gonna get, you know what, we don't need really hefty shit. We can just have the wooden arrows. Alright. Wish me luck, boys. We're hope for the best. Reload the area, which should also reload my MP, allowed me to get my second chance in. I think Thieves' Ring would probably be pretty good for me. A little bit of a speed boost. Now let's go. Let's try to one-shot the Dragon God if we can. With the hands of God, with the fist of fury. I don't know whether or not the Thieves' Ring helps at all during this fight. So he can't see me here. Gotta relearn the Metal Gear Solid sneaking mission here. Fucking hell. Okay. Got lots of fresh spice. So we can reload our second chance. Take this off the table, get some crescent moon grass out here. I think he one-shot me, so I don't know if that's going to help, but whatever. Owie! Why would I choose this as an arena? What a stupid move. Okay. Fuck. Will he be able to see me behind the next pillar? Apparently not. Eyes are not turning red. Making lots of noise. It gives us a little smidgen of a warning. Okay. His eyes turn red, he waits a moment, then he attacks. Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go! Holy shit. Ouchie wah-wah, that sure hurts a heck of a lot. Why did I choose this as a arena to fight anybody ever? What a dumb decision that's about to cost me my life. So, as we have alluded to earlier, the steam coming out of his mouth is a deadly thing. It will hurt you. So we are going to do everything in our power to try to make sure that hurt doesn't end us. We're going to try to avoid it as much as possible, alright? Ow. That not only hurt a lot, it also used up my second chance, so you can see how deadly this can be. If you want this achievement, this trophy to not take nearly as long, you can upgrade the Hands of God. It is not letting me double hand this. So 1 or 2 hits at a time is the best I can do. I do not know whether or not it's a thing where they're going to let me blast him a couple of times from afar and then just do the last blow with the Hand of God. I don't know. So I'm just erring on the side of caution and taking my time. But like I said, if you want to get ahead in life, we do have guaranteed paths for anybody. You know, Dave Chappelle way back in the day, he had a thing where he went and he spoke at his old high school, and he said, like, he told them the truth. He said, like, you guys, you know, aren't going to make it as comics. Says my making it as a comic was a complete fluke. Said you guys got to get better at basketball or something, or else you're never going to make it out of here. Said I was just being honest with them. That could have been bad. I regained my MP and I didn't even activate second chance, which is why I regained my MP. But you don't even have to do that much. That's another thing that's going to be like, okay, your sports dreams will earn you scholarships and stuff until you get injured, until anything at all happens to you, and then suddenly you cannot physically perform at that level anymore. So instead of rolling the dice in that way or any other way, we do have guaranteed paths to success. Nurses make a fair amount of money, and nurses is another, it's another 4-year degree. So that right there is a guaranteed path to success. There we go! Come on. Yeah, Fist of Legends! We did it, boys! We did it, and we did it in a way that got us our magic goodies. Our PlayStation trophy and everything. So there we go. One more trophy down the line. One more level down the line. One more world. And I got the Flame Lurker soul, so I can give it back to Eddie again, Blacksmith Eddie, and he'll be able to go ahead and make us some really gnarly shit using some boss souls and all sorts of other goodies. So we're going to be able to do quite a lot with that. Maybe I'm not in pure white wolf tendency. Doesn't seem like it. Might have to come back. Because that rubble shouldn't be there. I should be able to get the Dragon Bone Smasher a second time. A second copy of the Dragon Bone Smasher. Give it away to some fortunate, person out there that can't figure out the world tendency system and keeps getting themselves killed. But yeah, you've got the nursing degree, you've got the engineering degree, and there's plenty of other things as well. There's plenty of other ways to success. You've got your law degree, you've got the military. That's always a standout. It's pretty much a guaranteed path to success. You say, like, if I survive, if you actually look at the statistics of the amount of people that die in the military versus the amount of people that die in the civilian world, it's double. And then you look at the amount of people that die by accident. So you take the amount of people that die on purpose, somebody killed them, and you add the amount of people that die on accidents in the civilian world, and what you're going to get is statistics showing you very clearly that that civilians die at twice the rate as military people do. People don't want to, acknowledge these facts, but they'll be there for you whether you acknowledge them or not. That's quite a lot. It's quite a lot of different things here. Yeah. Take some more endurance. Why not? So, now there's some paths forward that work every time. That there's not a single person that it doesn't work for. Instead of rolling the dice and then trying to find some other way to do it. And if you become a professor in anything, if you get a PhD in anything whatsoever, professors make a decent wage as well. So you've got these avenues to success. You've got, free colleges that you can go to. You've got, the University of the People. You've got Blackburn College in Macoupin County, in Carlinville, Illinois. You've got all of these different avenues to success that are guaranteed. They work every time. It's not a single person that it doesn't work for. So if you stay in school long enough, you will find a way to live a pretty decent life. And so it's these sort of things that you need to sort of keep in mind whenever the next big thing comes around and somebody else tries to convince you to do their thing instead. That they've got the next big thing. Whenever it's very clear that the next big thing is just the next thing that's you're going to try and fail like anything else. Not because you're a bad person, but because it's not a thing that's guaranteed success like they're promising you. And then, of course, if you don't have the time to do the whole college thing one way or the other, free or not, then there's always getting your own land. There's actually over 20 places here in the United States that give away land for free. You don't even have to listen to my last video or anything like that. Building your own house, it might take a little time for you to figure it out, but you know, it's a guaranteed thing for success. 100% of your ancestors did it, so you can too. There's using a composting toilet or digging your own septic so you don't have to pay sewage bill anymore. There's burning your own trash if your state allows it and you're far enough away from everything else, or just, you know, going to public places and putting your trash away. Before I started burning my trash out here, which is legal as per Illinois state law, being this far away from town, before I started burning my trash out here, I would just take it in baggies and I would put it in the trash cans at Walmart the next time I went grocery shopping. I would just save up all of my bags in the same grocery bags that were giving me for free at Walmart. And in your state or even in your area, sometimes they'll charge you for those damn plastic bags, but that's besides the point. I would put the trash right back in those bags, and I would put those bags right into their trash cans. That's not dumping. That's what those trash cans are there for. If you go behind somebody's house and use their dumpster or throw it in their trash, then that's dumping, and you can get charged for it. But throwing away your trash is what those trash cans are for at Walmart or at the gas station or whatever else, where they are specifically to be used for those purposes. There's a lot of public places like that, public libraries, public, government buildings, anywhere where there's a trash can outside, that's what it's for. And unless it's on private property or something like that. And so, that's what I used to do. And get free water from state parks, no longer have to pay a water bill, or dig a shallow well if you don't want to drive, or just start a rainwater collection system if your area allows it. Or continue to get free water from state parks or even from other areas. Plenty of RV people will get free water from gas stations because they allow them to. Just say, hey, is it okay if I fill up a couple of jugs? And they're all like, yeah, sure. Or, nah, man, paying customers only. One or the other. Doesn't matter. And so then you got no rent, you got no mortgage, you've got no gas bill, you've got no water bill, you've got no sewage bill, and you can turn a composting toilet into a sewage paycheck so it can actually pay you instead of you paying it. And that sewage paycheck just might be big enough to pay your property taxes if you're around here and you're only paying $16 a year for property taxes, which I know more than one person who pays exactly that. And they put together your own solar panels. You got YouTube University. If you don't got YouTube University, go down to your public library, learn, and then put together your own solar panels. Soon enough, you don't have an electric bill anymore. And soon enough, you find yourself without any excuses to not move forward towards your success and towards one of these guaranteed paths to success. And the thing is, you can always go back. If you go towards one of these guaranteed paths towards success, they will not hurt you. If you've watched the Hangover movies, you know one of the actors is a real medical doctor. So you can still chase after these wild dreams of making millions of dollars and breaking the system and everything after you choose a guaranteed path to success. And 4 years is not a lifetime. So if you have to, go after a nursing degree in 4 years, that's not a lifetime. If you have to go after an engineering degree for 4 years, that's not a lifetime. If you have to take 6 years to get a law degree, that is not a lifetime. If you just go to college, go to one of these free colleges that I've mentioned, or free colleges all the way around the world, and you have to go there for 8 years, get yourself a PhD, and then become a professor in whatever the hell you're interested in, that you've been studying for this long, that is not a lifetime. You can still go around and do all the other crazy ideas that you have in your head after you've guaranteed success for yourself. And if you don't have the time to do it, then sustainability can give you that time. And I've told you exactly how, step by step, the very places to go and things to do throughout this series. So you can absolutely take skill, take luck, take all of these different things that people will swear up and down that you need, and replace them with patience. Trust me, I've been going to college full time since March of 2011, whenever I left active duty in the United States Navy. March 2011. I didn't finish my bachelor's degree until December of 2012. Or it's December of 2017, sorry. So if you look at that full-time, year-round, including summers, it's about 6 years to do a 4-year degree. I wasn't smart. Last time I did a IQ test, I was probably 10 years old, and I had about a 105 IQ at the end of the test. So I don't have the IQ to back this up. I'm not smart. I'm not skilled. I don't have special powers or special abilities. But with patience and perseverance and sheer boneheaded stubbornness, I was able to get my bachelor's degree anyways. And so can you. Not because I did it, but because you have no reason why you can't. You have no actual evidence that you cannot do it. Because mentally, physically, all sorts of handicapped people across the spectrum get their bachelor's degree every day. So you can find a way, a method for you to succeed. Whether it involves you going to one of these free colleges, if one free college doesn't work for you, there's another. If one teacher doesn't work for you, there's another. And sometimes you have to grit your teeth and get through a bad teacher or a bad class. But that doesn't matter. Sometimes you go out because you want to get groceries from the grocery store and you got to scrape ice off of your windshield. It has nothing to fucking do with you or your failures as a human being. That's just the way that the cookie has crumbled that particular day for you. Sometimes you want to go out with friends, but you have to huddle in a storm shelter because a tornado's coming. That's not your fault. That's the world fucking with you. And you can't do shit about it. You're just going to have to hide in that shelter to make sure that you and yours are all right. And sometimes that natural disaster does a real number on you. And all the things that you used to own. And all the things that you used to be able to do because it injured you specifically. Or whatever. And sometimes that shit happens. But 4 years is not a lifetime. 6 years is not a lifetime. So you're not capable of achieving this goal because I was. I'm not using myself as an anecdotal example. I'm using it, I'm telling you this because you have no evidence that you cannot. No evidence. You might have evidence that it will be harder for you. As a person that takes the maximum possible dose of sertraline and atomoxetine for adult ADHD and major depressive disorder, and has to take lisinopril, and has to take, atorvastatin, and has to take hydroxyzine for his heart problems and his generalized anxiety disorder, yeah, I know that it's going to be a bit tougher for me than somebody without these things holding them back. However, it can still be done. And that's the thing. It can still be done. And it's a guaranteed path towards success. It's a guaranteed path towards success, and all it requires is patience. And Demon Souls is one of those things that can teach you to be patient. Back in the day, with VR headsets, they put people in VR headsets, had them play Half-Life, replaced all the head crabs with spiders, and they got over their arachnophobia. They had them play Tribes, and they got over their fear of heights. These sorts of things, we absolutely know that this can make a difference. We absolutely know that fear is fear is fear is fear is fear. And that even the most amazing people out there, they feel fear. And they feel fear just as much as you or I do, unless you have some sort of anxiety disorder, in which case the fear might be completely paralyzing. But we also know that there's methods of getting through that as well. So that fear is fear, and you can get used to fear just by playing horror video games, and we have the proof. You can develop faster reflexes by playing action games. We have the proof. You can develop a better strategic mind just by playing strategy or RPG games, and we have the scientific proof. We have the scientific proof. Video games really can make this positive change in your life that can radiate out into other areas, and you can deny the science all you want, but you cannot argue with the results. And you have no evidence whatsoever that it can't change your life as well. So you can replace all this skill, all the smarts and everything else just with patience and boneheaded determination. Get the guaranteed path to success, and then continue to fall back and chase whatever dreams that you have. And at the end of the day, if you're going to a free college because you're living in a house you made yourself and you've got no other bills and whatnot, and you have the time to dedicate towards it, and you're studying what you want to study, and you end up getting a PhD in something that you're fascinated with, then you can become a professor in that and live your entire life without much in the way of detours, without much in the way of having to do something in order to get something. You can just focus on what really makes you happy and what makes the life worth living for you, and what makes the world a better place. So just think about that and everything, and remember that you can definitely replace all of this gobbledygook with nothing but boneheaded determination and patience. And you can get that from a game as silly as this one. So I'll talk to you the next time I get the chance. I'll see you then.